Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Not Your Average Josh back here for another movie review, and I'm reviewing today a fun little movie called Polite Society, directed and written by Nida Manzoor. But before I get into my movie review, I do want to say if you're watching this, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Also, leave a comment if you have any thoughts on this particular movie or anything else. You can also hit that subscribe button as well if it's your first time watching any of my videos, or if you're a returning viewer. Any support for this channel is very much appreciated. You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this, but for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel. Not Your Average Josh. But let's get into this movie review of Polite Society. Polite Society is a British action comedy where Ria Khan believes she must save her older sister Lena from her impending marriage. After enlisting her friend's help, she attempts to pull off the most ambitious of all wedding heists in the name of independence and sisterhood. This is definitely very much a sisterhood type movie if you have a sister, or I'd say maybe even a brother, but especially sister here. There'll be a lot, I think, to pull from this movie, a lot of joy to be had, a lot of relatability here with your main character, Ria Khan here, who I thought was played really well by Priya Kansara. And I do want to say ahead of time, this is definitely a movie. Sorry if I mess up any names here. I do apologize. I'm trying my best. But Priya Kansara, I thought, was just really good here. She really is this movie. I'm pretty sure there's almost not a scene in this movie where she's not involved. Her charisma, I've never seen her before in anything else, but just the charisma she had, the joyfulness she had with her protection of her older sister, and this relationship that they have where they do everything together. Ria Khan is very much into stunts. She is still in high school, but she's very much, she watches a bunch of stunt videos of her favorite stunt people, and she works on this at home. And her sister is very much someone that films her and helps her with some of her stunts, and she's really very talented here. And there is a level, I'll just go ahead and say pretty much from the beginning here, within the action of this movie that is very amplified, and I haven't really seen much movies with this style, especially with the action. If you are familiar with these type of movies, I definitely feel like you'll feel more at home and more comfortable with it, but it took me a minute just to get used to the style, like even the way it was filmed, the sound effects, the camera angles within each action scene as she would do some of these crazy flips in this movie. It was just very well done, very entertaining, but it kind of just took me a minute. I'm not used to seeing movies with this level of fun, I think, and uniqueness with the style of the way the action was shot in here. And there is just certain scenes that goes definitely over the top with the action. Her and her sister have this fight. They're having this conflict at one point in this movie, and they're beating the fuck out of each other. And her sister beats her ass, and in like a normal setting, like in reality, you'd be like, oh my god, she may need to go to the fucking hospital. But there's this level of fun that the director almost asked you to accept with this movie, where you're like, okay, obviously there's almost a level of I don't know, of not unrealistic elements to it, but just again, just this amplified movie magic of it all. I guess you would say, if that makes sense, within the action, where I thought it was very fun and entertaining, and I understood that it was at a level, again, that was amplified, kind of a higher level than what reality is, if that makes sense. Ritu Arya, I believe I'm saying that right, as Lena, her older sister. I thought she had a very interesting character arc in her own right. The older sister, and she ends up falling for this guy. Things end up moving very fast. They end up basically practically getting married within a month, and her younger sister, Ria, has this jealousy towards her, and that's really where this movie starts, and then it really starts to expand into something much bigger and much crazier than, again, what reality is, which I think just fed into the overall tone of this movie. That's why, when I talk about the action scenes almost being unrealistic in the way they're shot and how almost fantastical, I guess, they are, it really reminded me of like animation or anime in a way, the way it was shot. And I don't know if that's what they were quite going for, but I think even within the story here, you have really, it starts out as this regular story, as I said, of this younger sister who's just jealous of her older sister getting with this guy, and not necessarily jealous of her being in love, but of her losing time with her sister, and then all of a sudden they're about to get married, and then she starts to get this irrational suspicion of this guy, wondering, does he have all the right intentions? Why the hell is he wanting to marry her? He's this really rich guy, his mom is very rich, and he spends this weird amount of time with his mom, and you have this weird kind of relationship there already being presented for you there. And his mom, by the way, played really well. This classic, almost evil presence in this movie. She was in Ms. Marvel as well as the villain. Nimra Buka as Rahila. Just her facial expressions and her laughs, her smiles just come off as so very evil in this movie. And with that, I will say it was kind of predictable what was going to happen towards the end of the movie. just with her character. She really comes off as a very evil kind of presence from the beginning of this movie. She has this very evil stare across the way at our main character, like, I think within the first act or maybe the beginning of the second act, where I was just like, okay, she's definitely up to something. Like, her hell's what the hell's going on here? Like, it was just an obvious evil smile. But the dynamic that she had with the son, who ends up getting with the older sister, I thought it was very interesting, and it definitely built a compelling story here, and ended up turning this irrational fear or suspense into something that was actually going on here. They continue to bring in these action sequences in this movie that never felt too out of place. There's very funny moments in this movie as well, more than I would have expected. Some very laugh out loud moments with your main character here and her friends, where her friends are trying to help her in all this. It felt like a very, almost a teenage movie at times in this, teenage dramedy at times in this movie, with how she's working with her friends, trying to figure out if her sister's in the right relationship and should she be in this. I just had a really good time with it. You know, I didn't really have too much complaints. It's a movie that not necessarily is something that I usually look out for, but I had a very fun time with it. The first time I saw this trailer, it looked like something that I'd be interested in, something that was a little different than the general stuff that's out, I guess, nowadays. It had that, again, that fantastical, kind of almost like superhero element to this movie, comic book, I guess you would say, elements to this. It felt very much in that vein. It would not be as good as it is without our main character here. I don't think I can say enough. Just did such a good job. I mean, I want to see her in other things now after seeing her in this. We believe she had this relationship with her sister, and that she really feels all the feelings that are being portrayed on the screen here. And I was just really locked onto her every time she was on the screen. And I just thought it was a really nice directed as well. Again, the action was all very well done. It is also a movie, you know, I mentioned this with a few of the movies lately, that's probably not going to make too much money at the box office, but I think it could find a specific audience once it comes out on streaming eventually. But yeah, I had a really good time with this. I would love to see other movies like this. If you have seen this movie, leave a comment down below if you have maybe any other suggestions of movies that I could watch and maybe potentially review that are in the same vein as this. That's my main thoughts. I'm going to give Polite Society a 7 out of 10. Another really good time with the movie. Just a solid, well-done movie. But what do you guys think? Have you seen this movie? Do you not care to see this movie? And if you have, what are your thoughts on it? Also, leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and hit that subscribe button if this is your first time watching any of my videos, or if you're a returning viewer as well. Any support is very much appreciated. As this year goes on, I do plan on, again, doing more older TV shows, older movies, doing different series, reviewing different franchises as I go on. I'm going to love to keep expanding this channel as I go, so I appreciate anyone who is on the journey with me with this channel and continues to support me. It is very much appreciated. You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this. Be looking for more videos very soon, and I will talk to you guys later.